Not even joking, this is one of the most important parts of writing your book to publish. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Ian Chaffin, author of Loading Life, a video game novel, The Parents and Guardians Guide to Anime, Manga, and Cosplay, and Pride, Book 1 of the World of Nectere. And today we're going to talk about something really important, your target audience. So let's start off by defining what a target audience is. At the most basic level, your target audience is a particular group of people who you want to read your book. This is the group of people you're going to advertise to. This is the group of people that you're going to make a connection with and be like, hey, I think you'd be interested in my book. This is the group of people that you're going to go to, and you're going to put all your effort into showing your book off to them. Not annoying them with your book and like slapping it in their face, always trying to move your book towards them and no one else. So you might be saying, well, Liz, my group, my target audience is everyone. Everyone deserves to read my book. Everyone is intended to read my book. My book is for everyone. And to that I say, stop. Don't. No. You are going to destroy all of your marketing efforts. The whole reason why you wrote this book, you're going to throw it away because you want it for everyone. And you might be like, excuse me, that is very rude. Hello? What? And to that I say, no, I'm not even kidding. Don't do this. To say that your target audience is everyone is to say, I'm not going to advertise to anyone. I'm going to throw away my marketing money as if it's confetti. Woo! But maybe you keep on insisting, but you know, why? Why can't I have my book for everyone? Why can't I have my book for everyone to see? What about Harry Potter? They're for everyone. And to that, I'm like, haha, you're wrong again. But I'm not going to say it that way. I'm probably going to say it's like, actually, you're wrong. Yes, Harry Potter has a huge audience. It's filled with young children, it's filled with adults, it's filled with people of all different skin colors and backgrounds and, you know, all different occupations. And pretty much as long as you can read a book or listen to the audiobook, you probably have read Harry Potter at one point in your life. Harry Potter did not start out as a book for everyone. So when Harry Potter first started out, the first book, before it was even a series, you know, the first thing, she finally got someone to say, yes, we're going to publish this and we're going to market it and we're gonna make you famous. During that particular time in Harry Potter's life, or at least the book's life and all that, it was geared towards 10-year-old boys who were in school, who loved a little bit of magic and a lot of adventure, and possibly even gross stuff like giant spiders. They geared their marketing efforts towards young boys in school. Why? Because Harry Potter was a young boy who was going to school, who, you know, learned about magic and had lots of adventures. It makes sense to market it towards boys who have those similar interests as what you see in Harry Potter. Now, when it got big, that's when its little target audience started growing. So, yeah, that's basically it. See, people on the outside who weren't 10-year-old boys who loved magic and adventures and gross stuff like giant spiders, that forest, those people looked at those kids and went, huh, they are so interested in this book. And look, each and every year, as they're growing up, they're picking up the next book. It is so weird. I want to see what they're interested in. And of course, those people go and pick up the book and go, wow, this is really cool. I like this. You know, it's geared towards little kids, but it's really cool. I like it. I'm going to read it. Oh yeah. And that's how it became so big. The marketing efforts were towards little kids who had parents and friends and family and neighbors and everyone in their country, pretty much, depending on which country you go to, that, like, it all, like, went outwards. It's like when you throw a pebble into a pond. The ripple starts from the center and goes outwards. And that's why a target audience is good. You get in good with that target audience, you can make it have a ripple effect on people who buy your book and who fall in love with the story, right? Now, for people who, don't have big names or anything like that, it does take a while for, your target audience, sorry, I can't say that, for your TA to start expanding. And that's okay. It took a little while for, JKR. It may not seem like that because when you hear about these books, you're like, well, that's a huge audience. But yeah, it took at least a couple of months, if not, a year or two. And now you might be thinking, okay, I get it, Liz. I need to figure out my target audience. I understand it can't be for everyone, even though I want it to, but I can figure out target audience and then hopefully it'll go to everyone later. So let's figure out how to make your target audience. How do you figure out who you're selling to? How do you figure out who you're marketing to? And, just in case you feel like, oh, I don't want to sell to people. I don't want to market to them. I just want them to love my book. But when you expect to actually make money off of your book, you're gonna have to market. You're gonna have to put yourself out there and be like, hey, I want to make a relationship with you. Yeah, I don't want you to buy my book, And of course, that's also a different video altogether. So just become comfortable with the fact that in order to get money off your book, you're gonna have to market it. Not be a sleazeball about it, but to find your target audience and to go and make a relationship with them where you can market your book. I don't want you all to freak out about this either, but two of the groups that you're gonna be looking at in order to make your target audience are demographics and psychographics, all right? So don't be like, oh my God, that's so much. It's actually not that hard. And what I want you to do is to think of these as one person. Someone is going in to Barnes & Noble or going online to Amazon, and they're going to look for one specific book. The only book they're going to buy in the entire universe throughout time. The only book they're going to have ever is your book, right? Think about that. Put that in your mind. Who are they specifically? So with demographics, think about age, sex and gender, marital status, family status, and occupation, right? You might also include stuff like ethnic background, the education level, the income level, and the location. Where is your person at? Where do they live, right? Psychographics include interests, hobbies, lifestyles, personalities, and you might also look at stuff like attitudes, values, and behavior. Now, I want to say before you, think, oh no, that's so much to think about. Don't worry. Your special person, the person that you see buying your book, you don't have to apply all of those things to them, right? It's okay if you don't know their marital status or family status. It's okay if you don't know too much about like their behaviors and all that. It's fine. It's fine. You're just trying to think, who am I going to market my book to? Who do I see picking up my book? And to help you start thinking about your target audience and like, okay, how do I put like all these, demographics and psychographics and smush them into one person? I'm actually going to share with you my target audience for all three of my books. Yeah, at least the first three. If you're watching this in the future and I have a bajillion books out, you're only going to get the first three. So let's play a couple rounds of Guess the Target Audience. Yay! Woo! So my target audience for Loading Life is 14 to 18 years old, usually girls, in high school who are not married. They're very much into video games. And I specifically picked girls because, for one, I'm a girl. Hey. And for two, more females read young adult literature on average, right? And that's also why for the cover, it's more of a girly type of anime looking, cover than something like for guys who, may like actiony stuff or more angular stuff or, things like that. So that also played into it. This girl, she likes video games. She may not be a huge video gamer, but she does like video games. She also loves anime. She loves going to anime cons and cosplaying. This girl is also very sweet. Probably a little sarcastic though. And she really values friendship, which is what you can see in Loading Life. So let's now go to Pride. You know, it's the first book in a series. The Nectere series, the World of Nectere, actually. It's similar to Loading Life, but it has its differences. When I was writing it, I was going for more towards the YA and less towards nerdy anime-ish. But it does have those type of elements that you would see in Loading Life and you would see in an anime. So my target audience, here we go, is a 14 to 18-year-old, probably in high school or going to start high school. And I put it down as boy or girl. So, you know, it's not as specific as I could get it. And I know more girls do young adult novels. They write more they read more young adult novels. But I really have a lot of elements for boys as well. So, you know, I decided to include them both. And that boy or girl, they love fighting scenes. They love, like, seeing a fighting scene, you know, punches and all that, or magical elements, and you're like, oh, they get really excited when they see this in, like, any kind of movies or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, they love the action of a fighting scene. And you know what? They probably do like magic as well. And with that magical element, they don't mind stuff like vampires and witches and shapeshifters. That really excites them as well. So modern fantasy is a big point. So not only do they like fighting scenes, they like modern fantasy. And they do love the whole comedy, but it's still dark. You know, it's still like, oh my gosh, this person doesn't do this, they're going to die. The whole entire world is going to explode. But then you have a comedic relief and you're like, that's funny. Oh, wait, the world's gonna explode. Crap. Right? So they're that type of person. Probably the sarcastic type that I was talking about in Loading Life. But that boy or girl, that's what they are. That's how they are. So that's for Nectere. That's for Pride. And you can see the differences between Loading Life and Pride. You know, there's a difference in how I wrote them, but it's also a difference in the target audience. So if, you know, you're kind of like me and you write within the same genre, young adult fantasy, you can also expand and write different types of books within that same genre, right? They're not always going to be the same story, and they might be geared towards different people, which is fine. You might try to keep it a similar person when it's a series and they're not growing up. But with Harry Potter, it's, you know, 10-year-old, 11, 12, 13, 14, you know. Harry Potter grows up in the books, and so does his audience grows up as well. And now to go to something completely different, the Parents Anime Guide. So, of course, it's all about anime. Oh, wow, you must be targeting anime people, right? Right? No, not particularly. So if you were gonna guess that, you'd be wrong. So, sorry. Not sorry. So, let me, there we go. Wait, no, wrong post-it. Okay. I get it. So with Parents Anime Guide, it's completely different from the other two. I'm looking for someone who's between 35 and 50, who's a parent, right? Now, the reason why I chose such a broad age spectrum is because usually people between the ages of 35 and 50 are having kids or already have kids who are not necessarily grown-ups themselves, but are almost getting to that age. They're still teenagers, probably. And these are usually the people who don't understand a lot about anime. There are some people who do. You know, there are older people who did watch anime when they were younger. It was just few and far between compared to now. But, you know, I'm targeting specifically those people who rarely watched anime or who saw an anime, didn't know it was an anime. So 35 to 50, and they're parents who work, so they don't have a lot of time to actually try to, you know, read. They don't have a lot of time to figure out what their kids are doing, but they are concerned about their children and what they're into. And they probably have kids who are between 10 and 17. And the reason why I picked that age range is because usually kids between 10 and 17 nowadays are getting into some type of anime. Whether it's just one series, like Attack on Titan or My Hero Academia, or it's a huge slew of things, like pretty much everything I've watched. So, yeah. And in the core of this particular person, of this particular target audience, is that they want to understand their kids and why these children love anime. Because they love their children. Now, if I wanted to get super specific on the parent's guide, I would say probably someone who's a mom who's 40 years old, who, loves her children, but notices that her son is watching these weird shows called anime, and she's very concerned. So you can take a specific audience and make it even more specific like that. Or like Pride, it's a teenage girl who loves fight scenes, who loves strong female characters, but also loves to see a couple of hunks in there, right? Right? Or I could even spin it as a teenage boy who loves fight scenes, who loves to see kick-ass girls, right? But also loves the comedy aspect, also loves a fantasy aspect as well. So, I can make a person out of my audience. Like Loading Life, I basically did that from the get-go. When I was writing Loading Life, I wrote it for me. Like, I write all my books for me. I still have a target audience, but I write all of them for me. And so, especially with Loading Life. Loading Life, that's me, right? You may not be able to know or tell because, it's video. Sup, hey. But that's how I view myself. That's me. You should always be writing your books for you, but you should remember to edit for a specific target audience. Who do you want to read your book? So you've come up with your specific target audience person, and now you're wondering, okay, what do I do with this information? What you do is you find them. Where do they hang out? What do they do? What are their other interests? So, like for Loading Life, usually people hang out at anime conventions. So sometimes I get an Artist Alley table, or, I try to become a guest and I sell my books there because there are nerds there who are girls who love the fantasy element, right? There you go. When it comes to general marketing, find out where they hang out online. Online is a big aspect. Or maybe they hang out someplace in your, in your town. Find them. And when you do find them, get them. When you do find them, spark a relationship. Start a conversation with them. Say, hey, how about we hang out? Da-da-da. And of course, it's not just going to be one person. Maybe you're going to join a Facebook group about fantasy books. Or maybe you're going to go on Twitter and talk to people who love nerdy things. Hashtag nerdy anime girl. And you'll post stuff about like nerd stuff that you find or quotes that you find. And as you can see, I'm not saying buy my book. You don't do that. You build a relationship between you and your audience. You build that community aspect. There we go. And then you say, oh, hey, by the way, if you're interested, I have a book. It's kind of like what I'm doing here on YouTube. I'm trying to help as many people as I can figure out their target audiences, figure out little aspects of writing and publishing and marketing that I may have had problems with, but I don't want you to fall into the same thing. Or maybe I'm doing really good at it and I want to give all that information to you. And as I'm doing this, I'm telling you about my books. Loading Life, Parents Anime Guide, the Nectaria series. I'm telling you about my free stuff that you can get online. Hey. Mentioning free stuff, I am actually including a free, don't have to sign up for anything, don't have to do anything, just download it, free, figuring out my target audience file. It's basically a template that you can download and open up in Word document or, anything that works in Word document. and you can fill out your target audience. It has the demographics and psychographics, and then it has a few other things like, hey, where are they located? What do they do? So, and you don't have to use every element of it, but I want you to use it to figure out your target audience. You know, it's a great place to start if you didn't take notes about this video, or if you're like, oh man, there's so much information. Don't worry, it's all in one document. The link is in the description below. It's on my website, and like I said, it's absolutely free. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to do anything. You just have to download it. And, maybe when you're there, you can check out my other stuff. But you don't have to. But you should. But you don't have to. Anyways, I hope this video has helped you all figure out, your target audience. And maybe you have, said, oh, wait, Liz, you forgot one thing, or hey, what about this? Maybe we could add this onto the target audience list of things we need to figure out. And if you have any information like that, or you just want to say, hey, does this sound like a good target audience? Should I do anything else with it? Say something in the comments. I want to start a conversation with you all. I want us to all converse about things that are nerdy and things, yeah. And with that, I want to give a big shout out to Amanda Wilmot. Thank you, Amanda Wilmot, for subscribing, and I will see you all later, alligators. Bye-bye!